I'm Jimmy Conrad alongside Hollywood Heath Pierce and Charlie Chuckwagon Davies. And we have another special guest for us. He wore the captain's armband in the last game in World Cup qualifying. Center back extraordinaire, two-time MLS Defender of the Year for Nashville SC. It is the Walker Zimmerman. What's up, Walker? How are you doing, my man?
What's up, man? I'm waiting to see how many more props you got hidden under that desk.
Oh, I got a ton, baby. Let's go. I got a drum and I got the megaphone. But only the best for you, Walker. So the draw comes out. We get England, which I wanted so bad because I can't wait to stuff them, Walker. And then we got Iran. We need to get revenge against them in '98 when we lost in the group stages. And then we don't know who it's going to be, Scotland, Wales, or Ukraine. But how are you feeling about this draw?
I feel great about it. You know, I think anytime that you have a draw, you're going to say, oh, I'm excited. I'm excited to play this team. I'm excited to play that team. But this really is a really good draw for us. I think when you look at the excitement it'll bring the fans, and then also in terms of just on paper, I mean, this is a favorable draw for us, no doubt about it. But at the same time, it's World Cup. Every game is so important. There's going to be a battle on the field every single game, so this will be no different. But first reaction is very excited. Obviously, the England one's the headliner for us coming the day after Thanksgiving, but really, really, really good draw for us.
Walker, you know, looking at your trajectory in the national team going back to, you know, less than a year ago, I mean, have you had a chance to stop and realize just how fast it has gone from you being kind of called in a rotation to you being one of the sure starters in every lineup to now getting the lineup to or the group sorted out for the World Cup? Have you had a chance to take all that in, or is it just all happening too fast?
You know, it definitely is happening pretty quickly. Things happen fast. Obviously, we saw 6 months ago, wasn't on that roster in October. Now here we are, you know, being on the field for a lot of the games in the second half of qualifying process. So things change, and that's a really good reminder to all of us who have been involved is we still have 7-8 months to the World Cup. And so it's not the time to become complacent. This is the time to improve everyone's form on an individual level, because that's what's going to help us as a collective, is not being content, not being complacent, and focus on getting better every day as an individual. That's going to help our team come November.
Walker, I feel like in the beginning, there was that transition of I'm an elite MLS defender to, oh my gosh, this is international football. And it's a little bit quicker. And, you know, I got to build out of the back and adjust to Greg Berhalter's system. I think as of late, there was one match, I want to say it was in February, where you were started to build out of the back and you were playing these penetrating balls. You were playing balls that would cut out 5 or 6 defenders. It almost seemed like there was this click where you were comfortable on the ball and you could drive at midfield. You could break through the midfield. You could make those passes. What was that for you? How did you get to that level? And then, you know, is that where you think you've made the most improvement?
Yeah, it's funny. I think like oftentimes as a player, you know, you hear narratives, you see narratives, and for whatever reason, there's been this narrative like, oh, like, you know, he's not used to playing out of the back. It's like, dude, ever since I left Dallas and went to LAFC, we started, you know, really playing a specific style of football. Obviously, Greg's introduction to the national team was the emphasis on breaking lines. So I would say over the past 3-4 years, like that's something that I feel really good about. I think if you talk to the team in Nashville, you'd hear some pretty good remarks in terms of the trainings and games that happen there in terms of breaking lines and wanting to be on the ball. And it's no different with the national team. The only difference is certainly your setup is different, your opponent is different, how they press, the looks that you're getting are sometimes maybe different, and it takes some adjustments in the game to then be like, okay, you know, so Costa Rica, for example, we realized at halftime, man, we need to become narrow as center backs, pop our midfielder out wide. They aren't going to know what to do. If they follow that midfielder, a pocket's going to open up for, say, Tim Weah to come in, boom, let's find him. And it happened at the very end of the first half. And that picture was like, okay, that's the picture that I'm going to see a lot more of in the second half. How can we do that more? And so I think the learning part of it is how can you make those adjustments earlier? How can you see it earlier and know what to expect? But in terms of being able to do it, yeah, I have a lot of confidence in being able to do that.
And we have a lot of confidence in you, Walker. Now, talk to us about you being a kid watching World Cups on TV. And at any point, did you think I could be one of those guys one day that now here you are on the precipice of playing and representing us in a World Cup?
Yeah, you know, I think the honest answer is actually yes. You know, I think as a young kid, having the confidence and desire and dream and being like, I know I can do this, you know, and having that. And a lot of people say, oh, it's a dream come true. And I never thought I'd see myself here in a million years. But the honest answer is like, yeah, I've always believed in myself. Now, that's not to say it's like I expected it, but I always believed that it could happen. And I knew it would take a lot of hard work to get here. And again, like I said, we're 7-8 months away. So we're still not even there yet. But all things considered, I did have that belief as a young kid that, you know, I felt like I was created to play this sport, to use this platform and go as far as I can with it. And so to be, like you said, at the precipice of possibly being involved in a World Cup, it's really special, and still doesn't make it any less shocking that you're there, even if you thought it could happen.
Walker, I got a question for you. This one's interesting just because of the fact that you guys qualified after losing to Costa Rica, and obviously the way in which the team lost, not a great moment, had mixed emotions. But the internet is sort of always mad at the national team, right? They're never happy, and obviously it was such a great feat to come back from the failures of 2018 with this group that had little to no experience at the international level to qualify now. Is there anything that gets talked about in the locker room?
Like that guy in Nebraska, Walker.
I was about to say, this might be a good time to continue my apology to the fans of Nebraska with the slip of the tongue there. No harm intended. No, you're right. It was so weird. You know, I think even as Greg came out, we were kind of talking after the game, I was like under my hand being like, dude, this is the weirdest feeling I've had in my career. Like, we just lost a game. I hate losing, but like, we qualified for a World Cup. He's like, oh, I know, man. Isn't it? It's just so crazy because as competitors, you don't ever play to lose a game. You know, that's just not in our DNA. And so definitely weird feeling. And I think
did it have to, by the way, did it have to do with the fact that you finished behind Mexico and Canada?
No, I don't.
Or was it just the game itself?
I don't think
all
it mattered
that together,
at all.
I get, but you know,
yeah,
it's
I don't think at that point we were thinking of where we were in the group. I don't think any of us really even knew the final score of the Mexico game at that point on the field. And I think our reactions on the field, you could probably tell it's like, we weren't really like celebrating because we lost. But then I think once guys got to the locker room, there was a big kind of, hey, look, guys, like this was a whole journey. This is a whole qualification process. This is not about this one game that we're going to celebrate. We're celebrating that we're going to a World Cup. And so I think guys were able to kind of quickly turn over from the result in Costa Rica to the celebration that eventually took place in the locker room.
I heard you have a decent agent. He's an all right guy.
Charlie, by the way, Gar was just all the time, Walker. And I was like, dude, get off my – I don't have anything to do with this. And then Walker comes up, and he doesn't let the position go. Since the moment he came back in, I was like, hey, you know, you got to give him credit when it's due.
Similar, I think you're in a similar position to how Aaron Long was before his injury. You know, 28, you're coming into like the prime of your career. You've been dominant in MLS for a while. You're going into a World Cup. Is interest in Europe? Do you have an interest in playing in Europe? Is that something you want to do? Right.
100%. I mean, you know, I've been very vocal to the guys in Nashville as well about it, and very transparent. That is a goal. And does that mean that I'm going to define my career as being successful or not on whether I go? No, it's not. But at this point, I am completely open to that opportunity, that challenge, should it present itself. And, you know, anything can happen after a World Cup. And certainly I'd be open to challenging myself even further by playing overseas. But by no means does that mean I'm unhappy where I am. I love Nashville, love what they've done for me. But there is a deeper part of me that is always thinking, you know, what is my ceiling? How can I find that out? I think the answer probably is, I got to go.
Well,
Tell Gartland to get going. Jeez,
yeah, well,
come on,
you're also going to find out in the World Cup. You're going to find out in case you go up against Harry Kane, which I am just going to throw out there. He's going to be in your back pocket by the end of this one. But I set it up. It is amazing. Talk to me, though, about the rhetoric that was happening inside the locker room about what happened in the past and not qualifying for 18, and also maybe any of the rhetoric to lead into 2026, because that's a big World Cup for us as well, as we kind of plant seeds of this experience and how that can help us make a deep run in the tournament that we're hosting.
Well, I think to bring you guys into kind of the vibe before warm-up in the locker room, was, you know, Lucci Gonzalez did his typical like couple bullet points of getting us ready to go on the field. And then DeAndre at a moment that he had, you know, talked to Lucci about that he wanted to have a word with the guys. And I think the main message from his talk was, hey, you know, we've been given a second chance. And tonight, I don't want it to be just a chance. I want it to become a fact. And that was kind of the mantra that we took going into warm-up, going into the game. And again, while we didn't get the result we wanted, we accomplished our goal of qualifying. And I think it meant so much to everyone, first of all, but more importantly to those that were involved in the last cycle to a heavy extent. So the 4 or 5 guys that were around, they were definitely felt that weight, felt that responsibility, probably even more so than the rest of us. And, we're just happy that we're back in World Cup. The focus is shifting, and now it's our job to make sure that doesn't ever happen again.
Yeah. Do you think this team has, in terms of on the field, a style of play or an identity? I think at times throughout qualifying, we've achieved what former generations have, which is like that fight, that grit, that sort of American mentality of when you step on the field playing home or away. But do you think that the team has gotten better through this qualifying? Does it have more of a clear picture of how it wants to play, or do you think it's still got some pieces to figure out?
I think it shifts. I think that we certainly have halves, or maybe you look at the Mexico game at home against Cincinnati, where things are coming together and you're like, this is a really good team. And we know we have so much more potential than what we even showed in qualifying. And that is the part that leaves us a little bit frustrated. But, you've seen glimpses of it. We have the belief that we can do it. And now it's about, we have, 6 games of preparation to really make sure that it does click. But in terms of our identity and getting the mental grit back, getting the team culture right, we've done a phenomenal job, credit to the staff, of really becoming a team through all the adversity, the ups and the downs, the injuries, and everything in between. We have guys that believe in each other and guys that root for one another. And if you aren't playing that day, it's amazing to watch the guys that are sharing the same position as someone who's starting, and the encouragement and support that they give in the locker room or in the training before, the advice they give at halftime. Guys in their positions are always talking to each other about how to win the game, how to make their performance better. And that's the sign of a good team and a good team culture. And so when I look at that, that makes me proud. That makes me excited, because you have everyone in the locker room committed to that same goal. And that's what's going to carry us through for a deep run in Qatar.
So when does the studying start of your opponents in the World Cup? When are you going to be watching every match of Harry Kane? You're watching Raheem Sterling and Jack Grealish. And then even Iran, if you're looking at Sardar Azmoun and Taremi, if you're looking at some of these players, when does that kind of preparation begin for you?
It'll start pretty quickly. I'm actually surprised I don't have an email in my inbox yet from our video analysis team that's giving me the players.
BJ,
their
Hey, we'll
tendencies.
get you that Paramount
BJ,
Plus
let's go.
login if you need one to be able to
Yeah,
watch
I'm sure
all those
my
players.
Huddle account's going to get a little overload here shortly. So I'm sure that preparation is very much underway already. I'm sure everyone's crunching some film, crunching some data to get to us. And once that's in our hands, I'm sure we'll be studying it, being good professionals about it, and making sure that we're preparing ourselves for our opponents.
Walker Zimmerman, we appreciate your time. Walker Zimmerman.
Wow,
Walker
2
Zimmerman.
props and 1 out. Oh my
You know what?
goodness.
Just for you. You're a special guest. We only roll out the best for our special guests. Continued success with Nashville SC. We wish you the best of luck in the 6 games with the U.S. men's national team and leading up to the World Cup. And we're excited that you represent us, man. We're even with the captain's armband and just the team overall, you're a great representative for all of us, especially us former players as well. So keep being you, Walker Zimmerman.
Thank you guys, man. You paved the way, so appreciate it.
We paid him to say that, everybody. We love it.
Did.
Walker Zimmerman, everybody.